On Sunday morning, we are going to continue our series through Genesis, talking about problems in our world and promises from our God. And we're going to look at chapter 4 as we continue. And a lot of people kind of think, well, chapter 4, so we're starting a new chapter, if you will, in Genesis. But really, chapter 4 is a continuation of what we see in chapters 2 and 3, where there was this perfect world that God had made and this perfect relationship with humanity. And then, of course, the fall in chapter 3, where sin enters the picture and brokenness enters the picture. And not only a broken relationship between God and humanity, but then, of course, broken relationships with one another. And we see that in Genesis chapter 4 with Cain and Abel. And so we really see that brokenness in an even more devastating way as we see those relationships broken. And so we're going to look at that on Sunday morning. And I want to encourage you to read Genesis chapter 4 before we gather together. In fact, if you have time, read Genesis 1 through 4. It'd be great to get the context and see what we're dealing with as we look at the story of Cain and Abel. And I'm going to challenge you as we look at the genesis of children, the beginning of family, so to speak, in chapter 4, at least the family extending to the being fruitful and multiplying. I'm going to challenge you to lead by the word and not by the world, because there's two different pictures we see in Genesis 4. We see a leadership by the word of God, and we see leadership by the standards of the broken world in which we live. And so those are the two options we have, and you really are either with one or you're with the other. And so I'm going to challenge you, of course, to choose to lead according to the word. And so we're going to talk about a reason for and a reality of sin. And that's the world's broken problem of sin. And then we're going to talk about our right response. So what is our right response to that problem of brokenness? So I hope that you'll join us at 9 o'clock for our prayer gathering, and 9:30 for our family groups, and then, of course, at 10:40 for our worship celebration. And then on Monday at 3 o'clock, we do have the graduation party for our Richland seniors from high school, and so I hope you'll join us for that as well. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday.